video on my channel, Alexandria Paris. If you're new here, welcome. I make videos that help you create a more intentional and comfortable home. And today's video is really important to me because I personally feel that our home should be a comfortable place that reflects who we are and shares our personality with people who come to visit. Just like when you're selecting pieces to wear or add to your wardrobe, it's equally as important to think about your self-expression in your home and in your surroundings. So I wanted to make this video to shed some light on some of the things that I think you can stop wasting your money on when it comes to your home decor. Now, I do want to preface this video by saying your home is completely your own space. It is unique to you. So if you don't agree with any of the opinions that I share here in this video, that is totally fine. The goal of this video is to give you some inspiration and some ideas around ways that you can up-level some of the more generic items in your home and what items you could be looking out for instead of feeling pressured to just buy the same stuff everybody else has. So when it comes to pointless that people are putting in their homes, my number one enemy is sticks in a vase. I cannot think of anything that is more pointless. It really doesn't even give you that great of a focal point in a space, and it literally just sits there and collects dust. It's mostly just meant to fill an empty corner, but in my personal opinion, an empty corner would be better than just putting a very generic and boring sticks in a vase. Now, if you do have a really empty and boring corner in your home that you're looking to fill, there are so many other things I would recommend over sticks in a vase. For instance, you could focus just on the vase. You don't even need the pointless sticks that do nothing. You could find a really beautiful decorative vase on a stand that would fill this space and just look so much more intentional. I personally think this looks best with a large vase on a small stand, but you could get away with more of a tall pedestal and then a smaller vase sitting on it that you periodically can put flowers in. And I find for a lot of people, they're drawn to the sticks in a vase because it really brings your eye up. But if you are after more of a sculptural look, I would actually recommend getting some form of art that is a sculpture. For example, if you're going to be putting something pointless in an empty corner anyway, it may as well be a piece of art or something that has beautiful lines and curves to it. You also could decorate this space with something that's a little bit more functional, like a bookshelf or something that's meant to store items or display them in a beautiful way. And if you're trying to fill an empty space that's near your entryway or your front door, using that same vase but filling it with something like umbrellas or walking canes is just such a classic look, and it's a really sophisticated way to finish this space. I personally do love a good coffee table book, but I would recommend you don't waste your money on this purchasing it new. You can thrift or find secondhand coffee table books that have so much more character, and the fact that they could be vintage or antique, it actually makes you want to open up the book and maybe see what's inside. Really generic or designer coffee table books personally just aren't my cup of tea. I just feel like all this is telling me in a space when I see it is we've got wealth or we have money. It doesn't actually show off your personality in any way, where a coffee table book that's a little more quirky or actually matches your hobbies and interests, I find way more compelling to want to open up and sit and read through. As an alternative to coffee table books, what I actually like to do is to periodically print off new pictures of our year and keeping those on display in our living room. I just feel like when there's a stack of pictures sitting in front of me, I'd rather sift through those and have conversation starters than just leafing through a book. The best way I have ever seen this done is by keeping a bowl of Polaroids out, as well as the actual camera, so that your guests can take pictures of the fun times they're having in your home, and then they can add those pictures into the bowl and you can keep that on display for the next time they come over. Next item that you are totally wasting your money on is any of those like wood beads on a string or any of those chains that are made of wood, rock, or concrete. These are really just to take up space and collect dust. It isn't serving any real purpose on your coffee table. And there are so many just more interesting things that you could use to put on display than these. For instance, I love the idea of thrifting a unique bowl and filling it with matchbooks, or even small trays that you can put little knickknacks on. This has so so much more interest than just a very generic beads on a string. I'm also a huge fan of displaying fun little puzzles and things that people can play with when they sit down at your couch. Same thing with displaying small board games. It just makes your coffee table so much more interactive for your guests. If you're on a journey to improve your home decor and update your space, then I feel like you have not made it this far without being told that we are no longer doing any artwork that's just words or like word decals to go on your wall. These have had their time, but they are over, and we are not progressing them any further in the world of interiors. When you're trying to make your home decor this literal, it is always going to fall flat. What we want to be striving for is to present how we are in the things that we display. If you're trying to make a statement in your home that we gather here or we live, laugh, love, there are just so many other ways of mixing that and incorporating that in your home decor that it doesn't have to be literally plastered on your wall. So for example, we'll just take the word gather. I feel like this is a really popular saying that people have been putting on their walls for a while. At the end of the day, it would make more sense to display photos of you and your friends and family gathering than it would to actually write the words across your wall. So hands down, whatever message or theme you're trying to convey in those words, you typically can convey that just fine by displaying your framed photos of you and your family or photos from you and your travels. It's just a more natural and heartfelt way to convey the same message that any of those words or sayings would. Mason jars do not belong anywhere in your home decor other than in your kitchen. I think mason jars are great, especially if you are someone who cans or you're using this for food storage in your kitchen. That's a great use for it and it can stay there. You do not want to be scattering these around your home, especially if you're incorporating ribbon or like candles within them. If you find yourself reaching for a mason jar or you're wanting to display a mason jar somewhere, I actually would turn your attention instead to pottery. This can be used pottery like thrifted pottery or pottery that you've purchased secondhand. You could even go to a pottery making class to create a few pieces to display in your home. This is going to have a way more intentional look in your space than just throwing a few mason jars at the room. And even if pottery isn't your thing and you do actually prefer the look of something that's glass, again, you could go to the thrift store and thrift some nice crystal candle holders or some nice display glassware that you can keep out. This is going to look way more classy than mason jars, and at the end of the day, you can do it pretty inexpensively and it gives you such a great look. And in a world where we are literally drowning in things, like we are drowning in stuff, the last thing that you need to be doing is going to the store and buying mass-produced accessories to fill your home with. Accessories are great, and you know what? There are times where on a shelf you do need just kind of a little thing to look at, but I would recommend for any of those little filler pieces or little things that you want to decorate your house with, go thrift them, go find them secondhand. These are great heirloom items, so pieces that maybe have been passed down from people in your life. Those are the items you want to keep on display. You do not have to go to HomeSense and buy some weird gold sea urchin type looking thing. This just is not going to add any meaning or character to your space. When displaying something that's been passed down to you or a really cool secondhand find will add way more character to your home. The other thing that I personally don't love to display anymore is scented candles. I've just never been a huge fan of anything scented in my home, but specifically candles. When I walk into some people's homes and they burn those types of candles all day long, it's just so strong, and I've actually heard that some of the scents can be really bad for your health. So I just recommend avoiding them in your home. Just display a nice, neutral, non-scented candles instead. The other reason that I love unscented scented candles is because it creates more of a buzz around your candle holders, which in my opinion makes more sense to spend money on really cute and beautiful candle holders instead of buying a nice candle that you need to throw out when it's done burning anyways. It's also a really popular thing for candle stores in your area to be offering a refill program. I think this is just such a cool way of thrifting some unique dishes and then creating your own candles from to display in your home. Another pointless decor item that I just don't think you need to be wasting your money on is holiday decor. Now, this isn't to say that you can't embrace the season in your home, but just finding more intentional and classic ways of incorporating it is just so much better. When it comes to holiday decor, instead of wasting your money on cheap items, I actually would opt for seasonal plants. A great example of this around Christmas would be something like a poinsettia or buying an actual Christmas wreath to go on your door instead of a fake plastic one. In the spring around Easter, I would opt for tulips or lilies. This is going to give you a beautiful fresh look without it looking so kitschy. And then when you do spend money on actual holiday decor pieces, I would always opt for handmade things. For instance, that might be something like a Christmas quilt that you bring out every year. This is never going to go out of style and you're not going to find yourself wanting to swap it out every year. And I just personally feel like less is more. The more home decor that you buy for every new season or every new holiday, it's going to keep you so busy constantly swapping these items out in your home, when at the end of the day, you could have a few really nice and sentimental pieces to display without all the extra crap floating around your home. Faux books on a bookshelf. You can go out and you can buy books that you're actually going to read or books that you actually own, and you can display those. Your bookshelves are not meant to just house these make-believe books that nobody reads, but they're going to sit there and look nice. That is just not functional and it's just not realistic. When you're actually displaying your own books, especially if it's books you haven't read yet, it keeps them top of mind and you're actually going to want to sit down and read them. Or again, when guests come over and you have books displayed that are actually interesting, they may start a conversation based on that book, or they may ask to borrow that book. So there are just so many great reasons to actually display readable books as opposed to books that you're just purchasing or that you're just buying as ornamental that are never going to get read. Again, they're going to sit there and collect dust. I have never been a big fan of poster artwork or like really large pop art. I think there are just so many better art forms that you could display on your wall than these pieces. For instance, family photos or photos from your travels, even actual genuine artwork, I think is going to make a way greater impact in your space than this really generic form of art. If you do feel the need to display a poster in your space, you do want to get it framed. But for the most part, I would just recommend avoiding it and focusing your efforts instead on artwork that's going to bring more meaning and value into your home. And if you're thinking of using a poster because you've got to fill a really large area, I would hands down recommend a gallery wall before I would ever purchase a large scale poster to hang. Now, it's not as popular anymore, but I do remember at one point during the whole boho movement, people were tacking up blankets or tapestries to their walls. Now, this isn't to say that I'm not a fan of textiles hanging on a wall, but I do think there are more sophisticated ways of doing it than just thumb tacking a literal blanket to your wall. So if you do have any kind of textile that you want to hang, I would recommend putting up a bar with rings and the clips to hold it in place. This is a great way to finish off the look and really make it feel like this is a piece that's on display, as opposed to just pinning it up on the wall and calling it a day. And if you ever start to feel like you're using the same type of artwork in all of the different areas of your home, adding a tapestry or a textile to your wall in this way can give you a little bit of relief. And it's a great way to add a little bit more color, texture, and pattern to your space without a whole lot of effort. So that concludes this video. I hope these tips have given you a little bit of inspiration and some guidelines to go off of when you're decorating your own space. I've just started my journey again here on YouTube, so definitely let me know in the comments which areas in your home you need advice for. It's always super helpful to know what questions you guys have or what design advice you desperately need. So drop a comment, write me an email, let me know what content you want to see me make next. As always, if you found this video helpful or you just like these ideas, definitely give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And of course, we'll see you guys in the next one.